I'm Bruce Miller from the Sioux City Journal. I'm curious, how did you decide to put the two of them together for, you could do 10 hours on each one.
We can do 20, but we need to do a different narrative. We need to do a narrative that answers to the urgency of now. We need to dispel the idea that you have to either choose between Malcolm and Martin, and rather look at it from a different lens. Look at it from a lens that says perhaps we needed both of them. Perhaps they are opposite sides of the same coin. And if we embrace the messaging of both of them, I feel like there's a contemporary solution to a lot of the things we're seeing right now.
I was surprised because as I was growing up, Malcolm was always in the background and Martin was always in the forefront. Will that change? Will we see Malcolm become just as important to the discussion of civil rights?
I mean, we absolutely hope so. It's interesting because so often you're taught you have to choose. Do you follow Martin or do you follow Malcolm? And so often in history, Malcolm's been villainized as well. So for us, we wanted to elevate both, show the importance of both, not only to the movement, but to each other. They absolutely fueled each other. They followed what each other was doing. They pushed each other. And as they neared the end of their lives, they were actually moving closer and closer to each other in the way that they wanted to go about achieving the same goal.
But, to Bruce's question as well, will that change? I don't think the youth keep Malcolm in the background. I don't think that's the reality for particularly young Black adults. And it's, Malcolm is very much at the forefront.
Oh, that's good to hear because to me, he seems like a hipper leader than Martin. Maybe that's just my take on things. But I think there's a lot there that we can learn from him that just really doesn't get said. People don't even talk, in schools. I don't even know if they're teaching this anymore.
Well, the autobiography of Malcolm X is challenged, same with the letter of Birmingham. Jail is banned in several parts of the country, so this idea of it being taught and learned is something that we as artists, we as civilians, we need to challenge.
And also what so much of what Malcolm was talking about was really the dignity of self and how important that was, certainly at that time, but any time for us to hear that about ourselves, and his push to be connected to our roots. His Pan-Africanism was a big part of his message, and that's absolutely, as Red says, urgency of now. We need to hear that message more than ever. So we were happy, so happy, one, to learn more about Malcolm than we even knew, and then to put these fascinating things and his genius on display as well as Dr. King.
When you go looking for people to play the parts, how difficult is that to find the right people?
I mean, well, we call them the Big Four, and we are so excited because we got 4 young actors who are extraordinary. And foremost, we wanted to cast them young because we wanted to reflect the actual ages of Dr. King and Malcolm X, Coretta and Betty when they were achieving these things. Dr. King was 26 when he led the march, the Montgomery bus boycott. When you portray them at that age, then again, young people can see, I can achieve that too. So we needed young actors who had chops, which all 4 of them do, but also the courage to take on these roles and the commitment that it takes. And also the consciousness to know you have to get this right. You're not doing an imitation. Find your own Malcolm and Martin, Betty and Coretta inside yourself and bring that forth. And they did that in a beautiful way.
So when you're filming it, do you do one part all at once and then you do the other part all at once? Or how do you, it looks like a technical, like, how do I do this?
No, it was basically, filmed at the same time. It was really more dependent on location or, the schedule, whatever was complementary to the schedule. This was really also interesting narrative and an interesting opportunity for Gina and I, because it's the first time that we came up with an idea and didn't write it or direct it ourselves. And so we brought in a really great team, showrunners, Raphael Jackson, Damian Macedon, and Jeff Stetson, who wrote a seminal piece of work called The Meeting, wrote our pilot, and just a really great, committed team of people that put it together. The technical part of it was also just really fun in terms of like the merging and the intersecting, and when we got into editing and playing with that and the music, and just times we go to Malcolm, times we go to Martin, and the challenge is like always moving the story forward so that while we're dealing with different people, it's still one narrative.
Did you ever feel like, oh, I wish I had my hands on this. I wish I was writing this. I wish I was directing this.
I think like, the reality is, I was working on another show called Swagger. Gina was working on The Woman King. So it was such a crazy time, and I think that it was just a different challenge, a different way to use our creative muscle to convey idea, to convey vision, and to allow them to have the space to bring forward what they wanted to bring.
When you both started, did you think the career would lead to this?
Well, yeah, I would say yes. I mean, we met on a show called A Different World. We were hired a week apart, and that was over 30 years ago. But Reg and I, like how we connected, we started on a friendship level, and it was this shared belief, an unabashed belief that what we do could change the world, and respect and understanding of the power of this platform that we love. And so we've never let go of that. We've never become disillusioned by that. We know the impact the work can have. And so this feels really great for us. And I think one of the great things is, as Reg said, to be able to be a place in our career where we can have a vision for something or an idea, and then bring an incredible group together to realize that vision, and also give opportunities to others as well.
It's so crazy, Bruce. Here's a story. I always have a story, by the way. Here's a story. So when it was the uprising around Rodney King, and the verdict came in, and those officers were initially found not guilty, and like everything in LA just was percolating. And this was like before cell phones and all that stuff. Gina went to this church out in South Central. I went to that church in South Central, just like we needed somewhere to go. And without even connecting with each other, we were both there. And, we spoke, and just having like moments like that where you just talk about like the world and how we've seen it change, and how it needs to change, and what we can do as artists to just make it better. Is, really filmmaking isn't just something we do, it's something we believe in.
Oh, that's so great to hear. Well, keep doing it. Don't be stopping anytime now. I'll be very upset if you do. So please,
Yeah.
please keep going. Thank you so much.